The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Did you know that Vancouver bars, some of them will be open till 3 a.m. And if you're downtown, they'll be open till 4 a.m. And did you know that Filip Chytil is actually, I don't know, like there's a chance, you know how they say you can't meet your wife at the club? Well, now you can. Okay, welcome to Vancouver.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks here on Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab, for giving you that West Coast bias. And man, oh man, we got to do it, and that's assume the best. Why? Because we're drinking till 4 a.m. Okay, more on that later. Vancouver's changed forever. Speaking of change, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's no Trevor Beggs here. But that doesn't mean, we're changing. He's on the line. We'll talk to him in a couple minutes. But first, we got to tell you that today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time, okay? Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, we're going to be talking about Chytil. We'll also be talking about the Jack Roslovic update that Rick Dhaliwal gave us. They're all kind of connected, but but we just gotta hold on to who we have, our neighborhood, right? Our community, who's here in front of us, not on our phone screen. And Filip Chytil, we showed the video yesterday. This guy's doing one-legged barbarian Czechoslovakia squats. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Didn't want to show my girlfriend that film, right? She's already asking for too much. She'll ask me for more. But it got me inspired. And like I said, we do have Trevor Beggs on the line. Trevor, watching that video, I don't know, just living with how do I say it? More positivity in your life these days, Trevor Beggs. Okay, more on that on another show. I can't be the only one thinking there's a small chance that Filip Chytil can provide legitimate top 6 talent. Like there has to be like a chance there's a 60-point guy there.
There's absolutely a chance, man. Like you said, bars in Vancouver now open till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Where the hell was this when I was, a young chap? And now I'm all domesticated and things are actually open later. But no, it's still an excuse to party, man. You and I are going to go out and celebrate, man, because Filip Chytil's going to have a career year, man. I really do feel it. And look, the injury risk is always going to be there. And, I like to believe a little something called Murphy's Law, man. And, maybe Filip Chytil, he's had enough time being injured, and we saw it in Vancouver in the 15 games. He does play a little bit of a reckless style, but, maybe with a bit more NHL experience, he can learn to put himself maybe in some positions that are a little bit better. And, hopefully this doesn't get boarded from behind by Jason Dickinson. Hopefully someone takes that guy out. But look, Filip Chytil, the most games he played in an NHL season was 74 games. He had 22 goals and 45 points that season, despite mainly playing in a third-line role. And, that was, 4 years ago when he was younger. This is theoretically a guy who's in his prime right now, going to be 26 at the start of next season. I mean, look, we broke down the math a week or two ago on Locked On Canucks. Filip Chytil's career average, if it matters, over in 82 games is 16 goals and 35 points. But I think the ceiling is a lot higher for Filip Chytil. I look at those 45 points, and I do think that a realistic expectation for Filip Chytil is somewhere in that 50 plus, even 55, 60 point range. I think he's got that potential. We saw the ability to make plays. I think he just wasn't rewarded for it, but he was one of the most effective Canucks at getting zone entry. Maybe that's not finishing off the chances, whether it's his own chance, but he's got a game-breaking ability to him. For your Vancouver Canucks.
Again, we got Trevor Beggs on the line. Sorry for some technical difficulties there. But, Trevor's saying a lot about Filip Chytil and, saying a lot of the same things that we've been saying for quite some time. Like, we saw the eye test, and we saw that, again, his enthusiasm leads to him having a lot of chances. You can see there's a bit of a play driver there. And, yeah, there's that chance of him being that guy. But, Trevor, I want to go back to how, you mentioned maybe Filip Chytil doesn't put himself in vulnerable situations anymore. Maybe he's less reckless. And I'm like, I want him to be just as reckless. I do. Not going to lie. The Dickinson thing, and maybe he's taken a hit in the past that was also dirty too. Like, you can't really put that so much on his ability to, be vulnerable. Like, or just be open. Like, cause I this type of guy, I feel as if he's always like focused on the puck as opposed to like, or focused on the net as opposed to like what's around him. And again, that leads to less protection, but it leads to more chances. And I applaud his courage, man. Like his willingness to still play at that speed, at that rate, at that like, yo, this guy could crash into the boards at any second. Like he plays like that, right? Like he plays like, you know, he'll knock a net over every now and then because he's just going right for the goal. Like I admire that based on his health, he's still open to doing that. And the Canucks need more dogs. Like he's got a bit of dog in him, and I don't want that to go away, even though it might be healthier for him. I just don't want that going away, Trevor.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And yeah, the Dickinson hit, obviously, that was not an example of him being aggressive out there, right? It was just a dirty hit from an unsuspecting player. I can think of one play in particular. I think it was against the San Jose Sharks where he skated with his head down to the middle of the ice and did take a hit, but I think he kind of looked up at the last second and didn't really get the full brunt of it. But again, you like the speed, you like the play driving into the offensive zone. You're right, Kyle. You don't want to limit that part of his game. I do think a big question is which line mates can bring the most out of Filip Chytil, right? And he's shown success with some bigger body line mates with good puck skills. You can put the puck in there. I'm thinking the kid line with Lafreniere and Kakko. And Kyle, I'm really curious about who you think fits best with Filip Chytil on this hockey team. And I got a few things in my mind, but I'll tell you where I'm kind of leading for the top six right now. I mentioned this before, but I don't think the DeBrusk-Pettersson experiment worked very well in last season. But the best trio, when it was DeBrusk and Pettersson, had Garland on that line. And I think having Garland with Pettersson, that might be the best way to get the most out of Pettersson's game. I know we don't want to have that conversation, but that's kind of where we're at right now. And with Filip Chytil, we've seen the ability to play drive. And I wonder if you stick two big body wingers with him and Brock Boeser and Evander Kane, if that might be the most logical choice for the Vancouver Canucks.
Interesting. Like a bit of protection there too, right? With the Evander Kane thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's making me think. And we ran the episode, what, a couple days ago where we like kind of predicted the lines, right? And or had fun with it. And I did already kind of forget who I had Chytil with. But the more and more I think about it, and again, we may be close to signing Jack Roslovic. Right now, Mike is reporting in the comments that I hear we were close to a deal with Roslovic, 3 years at $3.5 per year. Remember what Rick Dhaliwal said earlier this morning too. The two teams are talking. Even Cam Robinson saying that, you know, Roslovic is looking for 2 to 3 years. Like something like there's some noise there, you know. And I feel as if now I'm getting more comfortable with Roslovic being here and being another option at center, and if that allows Filip Chytil to actually move to the wing for a bit, because I'm starting to think that this guy could have chemistry with Elias Pettersson. And does that get the most out of Elias?
Yeah, and that's what we're all wondering. And that shouldn't be the conversation. Hopefully Pettersson just comes in and, you know, he's his old self, and we're not even worried about that. Because one thing I think about too is, you know, Filip Chytil, really good with the puck. He's got speed, but he does get his head down a little bit with those plays sometimes. And one guy when he's on his game who never has his head down is Elias Pettersson, right? Eyes up, puck on a string, like that.
Oh, did we lose?
And I wonder if we get that.
I think we're losing Trevor Beggs here. I think we're losing Trevor Beggs here. I'll try to get him back. Again, this guy's driving, going to work. You know, putting in his 2 cents about the scenario that's going down, and it's everything. It's everything to do with like the top six, more specifically. We talk about again the number 2 center. The number 2 center, like, is Roslovic coming in? Is it McTavish, or is it this, or is it that? It's like overall, I'm starting to just look at the 6 guys in the top 6, and I'm like, yo, if there's a way for Filip Chytil to stay healthy and, you know, play, whether it be with Kane or Boeser. I like the Boeser thing too. Like, play with some talent. We had somebody in the comments talk about Garland too. If Chytil plays healthy and he's like excited for a new contract, a new chance, all goes well to him, he deserves that. Like, with his flair and his creativity, there's options again, whether it be with Pettersson or Garland or Boeser. Like, this guy could be a legitimate top 6 piece. Like, let's not forget about that. Let's not touch on that a little bit. I know we traded Miller for him and it was sensitive and he got hurt as well, and we're all concerned, but come on, we've watched a lot of hockey and we saw glimpses of Filip Chytil playing at his best, and we're like, yo, that guy can do it in the top 6, Trevor.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the best road for the Canucks, because when you look at guys on this team for the potential to break out next season,
there you go.
I mean, like, Boeser and Pettersson could do better, but I don't think it's Kane. I don't think it's DeBrusque. I don't really even think it's Garland. You're looking at guys like Filip Chytil. You're looking at guys like Nils Höglander, right? Like, those are the guys you are hoping can break out next season. And, you know, I think that's another conversation we talk about the top 6 too, is, you know, Kiefer Sherwood, Nils Höglander, the potential to push the other 4 wingers we've mentioned to play in the top 6. And Sherwood looked good alongside Pettersson for chunks this season. Nils Höglander looked more and more like a potential top 6 player later on in the season. I mean, those are some guys too who could factor into this equation in terms of who plays the better needle.
No, that's a great point. You know, you look at the roster and you ask that question. We're like, if there's like a breakout potential player with people who are already on the roster, who's that guy? Yeah. I mean, again, based on skill set, based on athletic ability, based on speed, based on him wanting to be an aggressor, play with the puck, make some skilled plays, be all over the puck. It's Filip Chytil. Like, he doesn't let the game come to him. Like, he wants the game on his stick. It just, you see the enthusiasm, and yeah, there's breakthrough potential there if he's healthy. And again, like, one thing I want to touch on that should bring some more optimism to us is like, yeah, you know, he was healthy right at the end of the season. Like, the Canucks were fighting for a playoff spot. He's playing a game, so that means he has his full summer ahead of him, and that's a beautiful sign, because it wasn't that long ago where a concussion like took this guy out for like 6 months, 7 months. So he's been training all summer long. Again, we saw that video. You don't show that video to your girlfriend. Again, the one-legged barbarian check squat, like, that was crazy. He seems to be working hard. And Trevor, I don't know if you, well, I want to say he's working super hard, but Trevor, I don't know if you've been around Chytil a lot since he got here or talked to other reporters about him, but he's not only seems likable, but again, to go back on his enthusiasm, there just seems to be a guy that like loves hockey so much. And I don't know, man, that type of recipe, the enthusiasm, the skill set, the wanting to prove people wrong, like, talk about breakout potential. You can see that. And yeah, like, has anyone else talked about Chytil's love for the game? Because it's evident.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been brought up that much. I will say he's a bit chattier than the other Filip on the team, Filip Hronek, who seems to duck the media at all costs, but that is a low bar. But yeah, he seems a little bit more affable and willing to speak to the media, and I think you can tell his love for the game is there, though, right? I mean, it takes a special kind of person to fight back from the number of concussions he's had. And I think for Filip Chytil, too, motivation is a big thing, right? Like, not just to be in the NHL, but the opportunity that he has in Vancouver. He hasn't had an opportunity like this throughout his NHL career.
Yeah.
You know, he's been buried in the depth chart in New York. The availability hasn't been there. He comes to Vancouver, and boom, his first game, he sets a new career high in ice time, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's a huge opportunity for Filip Chytil in Vancouver. And Kyle, just to maybe wrap up this segment and put a bow in it, give me your predictions for Filip Chytil next season, man. What's he going to get point-wise?
Yo, just again, if I remember that first game, it was against who? Detroit? Colorado? Who?
I think it was Detroit.
Yeah, and I just remember the mental film. Like, he was too good in that game. That was that had Don Taylor comparing that debut to Pavel Bury's debut. Again, sounds crazy, but he was just super excited, and at least he pulled it off. You know, like, he had multiple chance after multiple chance. I think he scored the tying goal as well. He was detrimental on the overtime goal. Don't get me wrong, but we're looking for offense here. And no offense, I think if you're ignoring Filip Chytil and like what he could do if he, you know, hits the top of his potential, like, you don't know hockey, because he did show us quite a bit in his small sample size. Speaking of small, Jack Roslovic, right? A small move for the Canucks if they make it happen. I'm taking small steps towards, I don't know, being optimistic about it if it does. And I think, I don't know, I'm trying to be hopeful. Okay. I'm practicing being grateful. Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's see if Trevor Beggs is a little optimistic too. Cause again, it's not a sexy move. It's not a move you want to make when you trade Dakota Joshua, like, it's Joshua for Roslovic, but you might have to get used to it. Just like we're getting used to Filip Chytil. We'll do all that on the other side. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, man. The summertime is here, man. You know the deal. Baseball, soccer, ping pong, whatever, man. Football's almost back too. So warm up by using FanDuel, okay? And even if you don't watch baseball or you're just getting into it, right? The Blue Jays, I think they've won like 87,000 straight games. How many games do they play in baseball? 267 a year. Anyways, the Blue Jays are heating up. Maybe you want to, hop on the wagon. Use FanDuel and make those games even more interesting. Trevor, any more information on FanDuel? I'm going to test your skills out. Like, these guys have our back. Do you have their back? Can you run through this?
Always, man. I know that right now for new customers, if you bet $5, you win $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And I know that you can visit FanDuel.com to learn more.
Use those parlays. Use everything. Again, FanDuel.com. Locked On. All that jazz. Now let's get back to talking about Chytil and Roslovic on Locked On Canucks. Okay, we back doing this, and that's, celebrating Filip Chytil. Got to do what you got to do. We have him. He's here, and yeah, we almost traded him for Josh Norris, but for today, let's actually call this National Filip Chytil Day in Vancouver, Trevor.
Filip Chytil Day in Vancouver. I like it, man. No, this guy deserves it. Having the big off season, huge opportunity in front of him, and I'll get my prediction, man. I think this guy's going to get 28 goals and 59 points if he stays healthy.
Oh, I didn't even answer your question. I'm going to say in 82 games, he's going to pick up, I'm going to say 26 goals and 41 assists. Do the math, Trevor.
Damn, okay.
That's a lot of points. How many points will Jack Roslovic get with the Canucks, okay? If he does end up signing with Vancouver. Again, Rick Dhaliwal saying they're still talking to him. Cam Robinson saying he wants a 2 to 3 year deal. Okay, just this basic stuff, simple stuff. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I don't know. After seeing that stuff today on a boring Wednesday, July 23rd afternoon in Vancouver, I feel as if the Canucks weren't in on this, Dhaliwal would have told us already. It'd be obvious, but there's some connectivity here, and I don't know. I'm starting to think it's going to happen, and I wonder if you've warmed up to it at all, if it does happen.
Have I warmed up to it? Ugh, a little bit, man. Maybe it's the summer heat getting to me, man. Staying 29 degrees in the car right now, but
holy.
Look, let's go glass half full for a second, right? I mean, you trade Joshua, you get a fourth, blah blah blah. It's a 15-year-old right now, Kyle, as you said. Joshua had the potential to be physical and put up the same numbers as Roslovic, so I don't love it from that perspective. But you do have a guy in Roslovic who can play center the whole season under his belt, right? Mm-hmm. So the offense he can provide is likely better than Dakota Joshua's. And what does the team need more than anything? It's goal scoring and guys who can play center.
Yeah. And, it's kind of interesting having the option of having like Chytil and Roslovic. Again, it's the furthest thing from being elite in your top 6, but there's like, how both of them can play like the wing and center. Like there's options there, Trevor, for, I don't know, some creativity, like keeping these guys on their toes, some internal competition. No?
Yeah, no, I would say so for sure. And I think it's an internal competition for Ratu as well, right? And right now he's basically been gifted a spot in the Canucks center group, unless like a Max Hassan can beat him out or nails him on if you really believe in that. But right now it's Ratu has a clear spot to lose in this lineup, and I think it's prevalent for this organization to at least bring in a centerman, especially if it's a guy of Roslovic's caliber.
Oh, did we lose Trevor again?
You can't just skip a minute.
I never thought about that, okay? Just like creating that environment for Atu. But at the expense of Dakota Joshua for Jack Roslovic, that's a lot of work. Again, a part of me is getting warmer to it because it's kind of settling in. And again, maybe I do have like some admiration for the potential of, Pettersson and Chytil playing together. But yeah, it's moments like this where I start to, how do I say it, Trevor? And maybe this happens because I talk to you a lot, but I I start to realize that, like, yeah, we're I wouldn't say behind schedule, but a lot has to go right for the Canucks to play hockey in like April, May, and June next year, and understanding that like it hinges on the success of Jack Roslovic or Filip Chytil is again a little concerning. Now I wanna throw this there to connect to it. Like, you know how you keep saying like Elias Pettersson, if he comes back to form, like he can override a lot of the team's flaws. Do you want to touch on that a bit? Because I don't know if I'm pessimistic or I'm just forgetting, but is Elias Pettersson really that good? Because before he had Horvat or Miller, with him when it came to like having these historic seasons or just being a guy. And if it wasn't Horvat, again, Miller was playing at the top of his game and he was there. Can Elias Pettersson at his best override this team having Jack Roslovic as their number 2 center? Like, he's not Connor McDavid, but what exactly can Elias Pettersson do for a team that, again, has those options?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I'll touch on Roslovic quick. I mean, expecting Roslovic to be the number 2 center is not a great situation. I mean, he's been the number 2 center in Columbus on the team that wasn't very good, but on the teams he played on that were good, Winnipeg, Carolina, he was a number 3 center, or he played wing, right? Yeah, he played a lot of wing in Carolina. So I think you're really banking on Filip Chytil to break out and Pettersson to return to form. Now, in terms of what Pettersson can do, I mean, it's interesting you bring up the Miller thing. He's really only had one season away from JT Miller, unless you want to count chunks of last season, right? But that season was really good, right? He won the Calder. He was the best center on his team. No one expected him to be that good. And in the Minnesota Miller last season, I mean, he was garbage for a month after the trade, but that stretch in November, he was good, and he was good for about those 10 games before he got injured and the season ended. So, I mean, in terms of his potential, I mean, look, I mean, this stat kind of blew my mind, but when I was doing some research on my Alvin piece for Daily Hive earlier this week, despite everything that's gone wrong with Pettersson over the past 16, 18 months, he is still top 20 in NHL scoring since Alvin took over the Vancouver Canucks. I think that's important to remember because we all know it's been 100 regular season games of garbage, and this guy is still top 20 in NHL scoring since January of 2022.
Wow.
Right? He was top 10 really from when Alvin took over until the All-Star break in 2024. So, I mean, look, it's not to quote Slim Shady, but will the real Elias Pettersson please stand up? I think that is the biggest question for the Canucks this season. But I keep going back to, look, unless this guy's just forgotten how to play hockey, I don't think that's the case. If he trains properly, he's got it in him to be one of the best players in hockey.
And is that enough? Is that enough to impress Quinn Hughes? Like, can he bring it, be at his best, and make Filip Chytil, like, take the pressure off him? Again, can Pettersson, like, do it without Miller, be that dog? Yeah, on that note, bring back that Calder energy where he was just a superstar. You could just, that shit oozes, throughout the lineup. Like, and when he's at his best, like, does it ooze onto Filip Chytil? Like, does he have that superpower? Like, it's wait and see. Like, this is such a critical year for the guy. Because if he does that, like, if he is so good that he makes everyone around him better, I'm not even just talking about the players on the ice that he plays with, but I'm talking about the bench. Like, he will heal up a lot of those wounds that he opened up between him and some Canucks fans. But does he have the energy about him? I wonder. Like, does he have that aura, that ability? That glow when he's at his best.
He's got it in him somewhere, Kyle. I mean, I think he needs to be a bit like Kiefer Sherwood and just fire a million pucks on net this summer, as Rick Tocchet said, because I mean that was something that was majorly missing from his game last year. I mean, the playmaking wasn't great. It was there in spurts. I could think of the Philip Pronik setup with the cross breeze pass. Like, he has moments where the vision is absolutely still there, but what we didn't see him do is shoot the puck well. And when he did shoot the puck, he was kind of misfiring, right? But, just fire the puck, man. I hope Pettersson right now is, listening to some 50 Cent and just, like, firing a million pucks on net right now somewhere in Sweden, I think if he does that and the goal scoring comes back, that's what gives you confidence more than anything else, right? And you talk about the floor being there, but that ceiling, he's been working his ass off and firing, I'd say 10,000 pucks on net a day right now. And to answer your question about Quinn Hughes, I mean, who knows where Quinn Hughes' head is at? But I think if Pettersson comes back and can do it in the playoffs as well, yeah, that's all you can really do to convince Quinn Hughes to stay in Vancouver.
Yeah, how about this? Like, does because again, some fans may have forgotten. Does Elias Pettersson at his best give you that Quinn Hughes feeling? Because again, it wasn't that long ago. Because Quinn Hughes,
Absolutely.
Quinn Hughes has gotten so much better since we had that comparison. Like Pettersson and Hughes, pick one. Pettersson and Hughes, who do you start a franchise with? Because they were like on the same level. Not only has like Pettersson kind of fallen off the pedestal over the last 150 games, but Quinn Hughes has just taken his game to a whole other level. Like a whole other level, like where he's amongst the, like not the McDavids, but he's climbing up to that McKinnon tier, like he's like so damn good, so pivotal when having him on your team in a game. Like he dictates winning and losing, by playing half the game, having the puck on his stick all the time, like so generational, so transitional, just that guy. All in all, though, can Pettersson match that? I don't know anymore. That's kind of hard to do, Trevor. But the Canucks, looking at their depth chart and looking at who's at the top six, like they need Pettersson to be Quinn Hughes-esque.
Yeah, I mean, Pettersson leveling up like Quinn Hughes did would be Pettersson becoming like that Datsukian player and getting to like 110 points. And I mean, like that's triple the points he had this last season. So that's a monumental jump. I mean, look, the expectation for Pettersson, I think, is be elite defensively like he's been. I think he's probably going to have to take on more on the PK now that P. Suter is not on the team anymore. And I think he can do it. But again, if he can get back to being a point a game and being elite defensively and the Canucks get into the playoffs, that's when he can make his mark. That's when he can solidify his reputation. I mean, the Canucks absolutely have to get into the playoffs this year, which is, look, they are not betting favorites to make the playoffs. We have not brought that up. But on most betting platforms, they are, plus 110, plus 120 to make the postseason right now. They're about 10th of the Western Conference. So it's not going to be easy. But if Pettersson can, again, be a point-a-game guy, be elite defensively, get the team to the playoffs, that's who's going to have the chance to both impress Quinn Hughes, impress the fan base, and solidify his reputation as a game changer.
And there you go, man. We're talking about Chytil, Roslovic, the second-line center role to start the season, and it always just falls on the shoulder of Elias Pettersson. He is the true second-line center for the Canucks and also your first-line center. Again, the trickle-down effect, no, it's something that has to work with Pettersson this year. Like, he needs to instill so much belief around him and on that bench that he makes, again, every single Canuck way better. Because you can play more relaxed and be yourself knowing that you have one of the best players in hockey on your team. Oh, yeah, you have two of them. Oh, yeah, maybe you have three of them if Demko stays healthy. But, yeah, Hughes, Pettersson, Demko, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Chytil, Roslovic, who knows? Who knows? But one thing we do know is, we'll be rambling about it and BSing about it and assuming about it with you and you and you and you. Trevor Beggs, thanks for joining us. On the other side, I know you have to get to work, so I'll kick you. You want to stick around for the other side or what?
I wish I could, man, but I got to pay the bills.
Yeah, hang up the phone. I'm going to read some comments on the other side. Ask me anything, okay? Shout out to Halfin and Bruff, but you just ask whatever you want. And we'll finish out this episode of, again, Locked On Canucks. People. We back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks, and now reading all your comments on this certain type of Canucks conversation. Scrawford saying Kyle with the golden helmet tan. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Okay. Scrawford also saying the Canucks are making the playoffs next season. Let's be real. Dude, if Chytil can do it and level up 100%, if Pettersson can do it 150%, if he's back 150%, I want to know if the Canucks can legitimately and how fast they can get themselves back into being somewhat of a favorite or, amongst the best teams in the West, right? There's steps to this, but how far are they from being like a Winnipeg? And I know the rosters are completely different, and historically, in recent history, the Jets are just way better than us. But with our decor and having Quinn Hughes being a top 3 player in hockey, and if Elias Pettersson comes back and if Demko stays healthy, I don't know, a lot of teams can't really match that. Now, does it equate to playoff success? I don't know, but I'm asking, when does this team get back to being just even at that level, the Winnipeg Jets level? And are they that far? If everything lines up, how good is the D? How good is the D, man? That's what she said. What? Okay, next question. Look at this comment from NGK saying, will Pettersson ever impress Quinn more than his own brother Jack? Of course. If Pettersson at his best is way better than Jack Hughes. Can we disagree with that? That is the truth. Quinn Hughes, uber competitor. Quinn Hughes, head scout. He knows that too. Quinn Hughes knows that he has a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup in Vancouver if Pettersson gets back to reaching his full potential. Again, remember that energy, that aura about him? Right? People comparing him to Datsuk. Are you kidding me? Like, Datsuk is a guy that helps you win games. You have Datsuk on your team. You play 82 games a season. That guy is, like, he's good to give you a 50% chance in every one of those games to win those games. Like, that's how good Pavel Datsuk was in his own way. Elias Pettersson had that swagger about him. Jack Hughes has swagger, don't get me wrong, and he's really good when he's healthy, but the two-way ability of Pettersson at his best, coinciding with that innate offensive ability when he's instinctual and having fun and, you know, not taking life so seriously. Again, that player is way more attracting than the New Jersey Devils. For real, on the ice. Again, assuming the best, but let's just sleep with that that whole energy. Remember, like, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson. I can't believe we have both these guys on the team. Like, let's just sit down, relax, and like hope we can get back there, okay? And hope that we can see it ASAP for, again, your Vancouver Canucks. Boom, bam. What else we got on these comments? SK93 saying, I think the Roslovic signing is pretty much done, just pending another trade to add a second line center. What do you mean by that? Like, do you think it's done because we're failing on getting a second line center, or are we doing both? That'd be something. Well, what do you know that we don't know? SK also had another comment here that I wanted to get to, but I'm having trouble finding it. Oh, right here. He thinks Filip Chytil can get 30 goals and 25 assists. Is that what you actually think? That's hopeful, man. Next comment. Then we had a comment from Bob Bluger. That's Teddy Bluger's cousin who watches the show. He was saying that signing Jack Roslovic is like trading for Adam Gaudette, which is scary. That's really scary, and that's why I hated this a couple weeks ago, or like last week when we traded Dakota Joshua. I'm like, yo, Roslovic can't be like, he's not an answer. He's just a piece. And as individual pieces, I'd rather have Dakota Joshua at his best than Jack Roslovic. Personally, I think Joshua leans in more to our identity or whatever we're trying to build. And yeah, the whole Adam Gaudette thing, right? That comparison. Good offensive instincts and score some goals. But what else? What else do you do? Can you win with a guy like this in the playoffs? And to that, you could say, you know, Carolina did to some extent. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And the year before, correct me if I'm wrong, did he not play for the Rangers? Did the Rangers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals as well? You know, I guess we're coming to the conclusion. Like, no, Roslovic is way better than Adam Gaudette. I don't know how much that is saying, but 100%, he's way better than Adam Gaudette. Mel Vaughn saying, please get Mason McTavish, stop fooling around. What will it take, man? I saw a tweet. It was going around Twitter. I think it was by Jim Leahy. He was saying, should the Canucks trade DPD, Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, a first-round pick? Was it Chytil too? Maybe it was Chytil. Maybe it was another a piece. Obviously, that matters in this tweet. But would you trade all that for Mason McTavish? Would I do it? I don't know. That's a lot. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, DPD in first. That's a lot. Considering how good I think DPD already is and what he's going to get to. with some time and, by playing with Marcus Pettersson, right? Just having him in the room, mature dude, a physical force. A big reason why we didn't have to sign Zadorov for all that money is because I think deep down, they knew that their top prospect in the organization was DPD. A better player at his full potential than Nikita Zadorov. Similar swagger, though. Where am I going with this? That's a lot for Mason McTavish, but it's going to take a lot to get him. So would you do that? Let's cut out Chytil, but let's just say that Jonathan Lekkerimäki, DPD, and a first for Mason McTavish. Let me close my eyes. Let me think about this. I have a lot of respect for Mason McTavish, too. Damn. I think I'm doing that, actually. I'm sorry. I think I am. I think our pipeline behind Quinn Hughes, who's still very young, with Kudratsiev, did I say that right? Kuryatsev, Tom Melander and Mancini is still, pretty good. Swordminio, pretty good. DP is going to be a hell of a player, 100%. But Mason McTavish, man, down the middle, captain material. Obviously, we got Quinn Hughes here, but I think they just, line up, right? McTavish, Hughes, Pettersson, obviously, as well. Yeah. Down the middle. I think I'm doing that. Which would be cool. That'd be cool value. If they could have hyped DPD up that much and got him from being a 3rd round pick to given that much value in a Mason McTavish trade, that's a good win. And maybe the Ducks, I don't know how much they need defensemen of that caliber. I haven't looked at the depth chart, but maybe they like DPD a lot too because he played really, 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 really good against the Ducks late in the season, right? So you never know. You never know. Anyways, Mel Vaughn's saying, I fell in love with DPD the moment he dropped the gloves. Stop it, Kyle. I'm a diehard. Oh, no, it's a hard no on DPD. I like DPD a lot, too. I think there's a hell of a player there. I just think that Mason McTavish is a good player, too, and it's Jack Roslovic or Filip Chytil down the middle. So, it just the math makes sense with that one. You got to give to get. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowen. That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. One left to you and you and you and you. One left to Trevor for being on the phone for the majority of the episode. We're here all summer long. Hit the like button. Share this episode with your friend. It goes a long way. Again, Trevor and I, we totally believe in Go Canucks Go, and also happy wife, happy life. And if you support the show, you support our loves, our wives. Why? Because the algorithm, okay? Do the math. All in all, that was another episode of Locked On Canucks. We appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.